Hello, hello.
So it was okay to continue. Am I audible?
Yes, it's working.
Okay, perfect. I think there's a bit of problem going on with Suman's audio. You cannot hear anything, so we have to wait for a little while. Suman, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so um, okay, so can everyone hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So I would like to request everyone to switch off your microphones and maybe also your cameras because it consumes a little more internet, I guess. So let's get started now. We would like to welcome you all to yet another session of Rewild presentation series. And once again, we would like to thank European Wilderness Society for the collaboration, and to Max, Jonas, and everyone else once again. So this is another presentation from Friends of Nature, and I think it's the last presentation from Friends of Nature for this series of presentations. Today we have Suman for presentation. So Suman works as a research associate at Friends of Nature. He's a graduate student of zoology, and he has profound interest in herpetofauna, and he's also involved in various other projects of Friends of Nature, and real inspiration for young people wanting to work in conservation. So Suman, if you are ready, I'd like to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Vina. Everyone listening me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Vina, for your nice introduction. Shall we start?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to thank Rewild Institute and European Wilderness Society for providing me such an opportunity to share my work to all of you. So let's begin with the presentation. The topic of my presentation is about the feeding habit of anuras, means frogs, and my study was from the Western Nepal. And this is the study of my thesis and some of the project in which I've been through. So the frog which you are seeing in this first slide is the tree frog, which is called Indian tree frog, Polypodid maculatus, which is common frog found in lowlands of our country, Nepal. So now let's begin with general introduction. So my focus, my area of focus is on order Anura. So as we all know, this is the one of the order of Amphibia, and it is the most abundant order in Nepal, the order Anura, and it generally contains frog and toad. There are two groups. They are frog and toads, and generally frog means those those Anura which have smooth skin, soft skin, and the toad are which has somewhat dry skin, means warty skin, and the legs of toad are generally shorter than that of frogs. So we can divide this two is seen in figure also. We can easily distinguish between these two group of Anurag. And in context of Nepal, we can find true frog and true toad. Like Buffonidae is called true toad. Means they are the toad, and there are some other toads also, like the group of Megapheridae. They are not true toad, but we call them as toad. But in case of frog, there are the family called Dichroglicidae and Ranidae, Brachypheridae. They all are the true frog, which is found in our country. And let's talk about the general information about the Anurags in our country. Like Nepal, we have 55 species of Anurag. Means it's according to the MPIA web, but the data is not consistent. Like we have the old literature, like old about from the 2004. So and in different literature, we can find different species number. So I have followed the MPIA web. And if we follow the American History of Nature Museum, then we can get there more than 60 species of Anurag. So this is because the update, like whether it is constantly updating or not, this determines in in context of this Anurag. Like in recent years, a lot of new findings has been done in our country. Like recently, also a new species like Emelops mahavartensis have been recorded from the middles of our country. Likewise, in recent time, we have new species like Scuteger gonsa and Microhyla taraensis. So these, so we need to update all the information, all the list of the species, so we can reach in the point that exactly how many species are found in our country. So amphibians are generally distributed from lowlands to remote high Himalayas of our country. Like lowlands, we have more diverse amphibian group. Like we have their burrowing frogs, tree frogs, and this buffos like toads. We have a lot of species. And likewise in mid hills, we have different kind of species like emelopes and like some stream frogs. And in high altitude, we have high mountains frog like Scuteger and Nanorana, some of the species of Nanorana, and like a few species of Buffonidae. So they are distributed widely across the country. And generally, there are about 11 endemic frogs, but according to new finding, it might have increased. Like recently, I have earlier mentioned that we have also recently discovered different kind of species. They are also some are endemic to our country, but it needs to validate. And they are found in different types of habitats, from cropland, forests, streams, to some are near the settlements. Like as I have said, they're toads. They are near the settlement. We can find easily outside our home or outside our settlement. Some are burrowing frog, and some are tree frogs. Some are the lazy toads. So there are a lot of species which are distributed in wide range of habitat types. So we can find almost everywhere. And in case of our country, they are generally neglected. They don't get a lot of attention as compared to the megafauna. We have megafauna, we have another group of organisms like mammals, birds, and like snakes. Also, they got a lot of attention. But the frogs, they are not getting the attention, and the research and conservation is not well carried out in our country. And in this figure, you have here I have kept the Microhyla species. This is the species from Microhyla genus, and in our country we have three species of Microhyla, and it is the smallest frog found in Nepal. It has like a length around 25 to 35 millimeter, and it has a high pitch voice. We can hear the call from a long distance, although it is small. And I've kept here the IUCN status of the frogs. Almost all the species were assessed, last assessed in 2004. So it is quite old. And according to IUCN, we have three species which are vulnerable, and the trend is decreasing. Like near threatened, we have poor species, least concerned 41, and data deficient 9 species. Mostly the trend is decreasing in our country globally, and most of we don't know any status of the species. So this also indicates the research gap uh, in the frogs, and it needs immediate attention for the research and conservation. So these are the some information about the animals of our country. And now let's talk about my study area and my study of the frogs. Like I was interested in the ecology of frog, like generally the feeding ecology, dietary pattern, and how they are interrelated. Means a lot of species reside or coexist in same kind of microhabitat, and how they are coexisting in terms of diet, what they feed upon, and why they are important. So environs are generally called the generalist predator. They are generalists. They feed on wide range of insects, from small ants to snails, crabs, to their own kind. Like the cannibalism is also frequently seen in environs. So in this figure also, I've shown the cannibalism. The cannibalism term used in environs is called enterophagy, and which is commonly seen in bullfrog of genus Oplobatrachus. In this figure also I've shown here Oplobatrachus crassus. That is the bullfrog, and it is one of the largest frog found in lowlands of our country. And it feeds upon the frogs, smaller frogs. And frogs are generally considered as the friends of farmer, as they feed largely upon the crop pest. In this, I'll discuss about this later in my result part. And we can find the positive relationship between the size of prey and the weight they consume, not the prey number. The prey number can vary according to the as per the size, but the weight of the prey and weight of frog, they are interrelated. Positive relationship can be found between the size of frog, means SBL means snout to vent length, and mouth weight. It shows the species which has the larger size, larger gap size. Gap size means the size of mouth, so that can consume larger prey. So in my study, I found that Hymenoptera was the most preferred as Anurad's diet. In case of Nepal, it is the finding that in Hymenoptera means the group of ants, wasps, they are preferred, but it also differs as per the feeding strategy. So there are different feeding strategy in case of frogs too. Like some are opportunistic predator, some follow sit and wait strategy, some are active searchers, and while some are like they are generalist predator. So it depends upon what kind of diet they feed upon. It depends upon their feeding strategy. Like it is found that the those species which follow the ambush predator, or which follow sit and wait strategy, they consume less prey by way by number, but they can consume a large size prey. So, but just opposite, which are active foragers, they can consume a lot of prey, but in smaller in size. So my study was on the western lowland of Nepal. It is the western part. In map, also map we can see there are three districts: Bardia, Kailali, and Kanchanpur. They are they are at the western part of country, and my study was focused on those three districts, and in three different habitat types like cropland and cropland, forest, and far between the and the forest paths, like, and the forest age means the age of the forest and cropland. And my study was done in monsoon season of 2018. Means this is the project of my thesis of masters. and 5 different species were focused, which I'll discuss later. Like, I implemented the method of this nocturnal time constraint visual encounter survey. It is the method which is widely accepted for the survey of NRAs. So from the name, it suggests that it is nocturnal, means at night. So amphibians are, or frogs are generally active at night for the foraging purpose. So, and at night, the survey was done from about 7 to 11 at night. It was done on transect. So transect of 100 by 4 meter were laid, and they were separated, means 500 meter apart from each other. And within the transect, the 4 people searched the transect, walking at slow pace, like for about 30 minutes. Means walking at slow pace by using the torchlight, the transect were thoroughly searched. And every encounter individuals were kept in cotton bag, so it is to avoid the repetition. So the chances are high, it we might repeat the same, counting same individual. So to avoid such repetitions, we kept the encounter individuals in cotton bag until the transect survey was over. So after that, we take it off from the cotton bag and we measure SPL. SPL means snout vent length by using the vernier caliber, and weight by using the digital weighing machine. And sex was differentiated. Sex was differentiated by observing the secondary sexual characters. Like in male, we can find the nubital pairs in male, or vocal sacs. So it suggests we can identify the sex, male or female, by using the such secondary sexual characters, and they were all separated, like large size frog, small size frog, medium size frog, by measuring the SVL. And by measuring the weight also, we can know which are the larger frogs found in, found in the study area. So we generally search in 8 different sites of 3 districts, and total 24 transect were laid, were surveyed. And after the transit survey, the next task was to obtain the diet from the individual. So for the dietary extraction, non-lethal stomach flushing technique was used. So it is the method in which we do not harm the individual. Means it is not necessary to kill the individual to extract the diet. So it is non-lethal technique. And for this, first of all, we need to capture the frog, and after that, we used a thumb to open the mouth of the frog. Means if we use in figure, you can figure 2, you can see they are using the spatula, but spatula might hurt the frog. So instead of spatula, we use thumb to open up the mouth of the frog, and slowly we inserted a plastic tube, a small plastic tube, from mouth to esophagus, and the one end of the pipe or tube was filled up with tap water, ordinary tap water, and flushed with the help of syringe. After we flush the tap water, then whatever the stomach content was inside the species or was inside the individual, then it comes out, as you can see in figure 5. After the pressure of the water, it forces the individual to take out the all the stomach content, and it was collected on net, small net, and after that they were collected and kept in ethanol, and which was taken to further analysis in the lab. So these were the methods which were obtained to carry out the dietary analysis, means the dietary composition of the NRAS. And next was the, after taking up it to the lab, then they were categorized into different orders of the insecta. So altogether 685 prey items were identified from the from my study. Like total, we collected 200 individuals of frog from three different districts, and those individuals which have stomach content were 169. Other individuals were with empty stomach, like 19 individuals with were empty stomach. And we discarded or we excluded those individuals which had SBL less than 15 millimeter, 15 millimeter. And so we termed them as juvenile, and then we excluded them from the analysis. And those individuals which have completely digested food item, also they were excluded from the further analysis. And one species like tree frog, the species had we capture only about 5 to 6 species, and they all were found with empty stomach. So we excluded that species as well. And some species consumed the plant parts like algae or other some plant parts. So that might be due to the accidental inhalation of those items. So those were also excluded from the analysis, and we only took 169 stomach individuals with stomach content to further analysis, and we found 685 prey items, which were further classified into 13 prey categories. So here you can see is the order of insect: Hymenoptera, Coleoptera, Diptera, Orthoptera, Odonates. So these are the prey categories, and our results suggest that Hymenoptera and Coleoptera, they were most dominating prey items. Like Hymenoptera means, as I have already mentioned, ant and wasp, such groups are in Hymenoptera, and Coleoptera contains beetles, different types of beetles. So these two were the most preferred prey items by Anuras in lowland of Nepal. And the least preferred, like Anuras means Anurophagi, we found only in 3 individuals of bullfrog. So it was the least preferred because the small frog, they generally do not consume other frogs. And other were like Lepidoptera, they were also least preferred in the diet of 5 different species. So further, we categorized the frogs into 2 different groups. Like one was bullfrog and one group was medium-sized frog. So bullfrog means, as the name suggests, they are the one of the largest frogs found in the lowland of Nepal. Like those were the Oplobatrachus, the species of Oplobatrachus genus, 2 groups like Oplobatrachus tigrinus and Oplobatrachus crassus. So these 2 were the largest frog in my study area and probably in the lowland of Nepal too. And this Oplobatrachus tigrinus, it is also categorized, or it has a place on CITES in Appendix 2, as it is mostly traded frog in past for the dissection purpose, and the legs were also traded from India in past. So it is categorized in CITES Appendix 2. And by comparing these 2 frogs, we looked about the niche overlap. So dietary niche overlap. What was the dietary niche overlap? And we found that P-ANCA niche overlap was 0.89, which is quite high. This niche overlap, it ranges from 0 to 1. So the value closest towards the 1 is termed as higher niche overlap. So these 2 are found in similar type of habitat. So they prefer, due to their large size, they prefer generally similar type of prey. So the niche overlap is higher. So if we compare the size of these 2 frogs, like the Oplobatrachus tigrinus is found to be larger than this Crassus one, second one. It has the average of 80 to 90 millimeter. The largest one was 125 millimeter SBL in my study. I found that and the weight was around 250 gram. So the largest one. And like these 2 are generalist prey. They feed upon these 12 out of 13 and 10 out of 13 prey categories, means they consume almost all type of prey items which is found in their locality. And we also looked at the niche breadth. So niche breadth means this is Levin's standardized niche breadth. It ranges from 0 to 1, and In this, the lower than 0.5, they are termed as generalist feeders, and higher than 0.5, they are termed as specialized feeders. So these two, both groups, they consume a lot of prey items, whatever is found in their surrounding. So their niche breath is also close towards the generalist one. And next, we compare medium-sized frog. Like medium size means those have the SBL less than 50 millimeter. For this, we took Minivaria thoracensis and Euphlyctis cynophlectis. These two are the medium-sized frog found in lowlands of Nepal. So by looking this also, we can find their average SBL wise quite similar of both, and they both are found in similar type of habitat type, means close to the water source. And this Euphlectus is one of the common frog which is found in lowland of Nepal. And in this we can find we found quite little different than the previous one. Like niche breath was found 0.501 of this Minivaria thoracensis, which is about the generalist but little higher, as the value suggests it falls in specialized category, but it is quite near to 5, so we can tell it generalized too, because it feed on 7 out of 13 prey categories. And in case of Euphlyctus, it is also generalist feeder, and the niche overlap was found greater than in the bullfrog. Like they have 0.97, Priyanka niche overlap was found 0.97. We suggest that the competition for food in this group of frog, medium-sized frog, is more intense than on some large-sized frog. The next, we found that the frog, they generally feed more on the crop pest. So we can call them, they are the friends of farmer. They generally feed on the crop pest, and it is significantly positive. We can find significant relationship among crop pest and non-pest. And in this figure, you are seeing the Dattaphrena melanostygus, means it is the toad. And this guy is the intense feeder. In my study, I found that the stomach content by number was dominated by this Dattaphrena melanostygus. In this graph also you can see it is quite higher. The uh, feeding per stomach is quite higher in this group of Engra. Likewise, the next in this figure shows the niche overlap. Like it is found, it is done from past software, and it is non-metric multidimensional scaling, NMDS. So it is done is according to the prey category. Like here you can see that everything is accumulated in one place. Here I have shown 5 convex hulls for 5 different species, and it suggests that all the prey items, they are accumulated in one place. So it also shows clear picture about how intense the niche overlap is, and how intense the competition is in lowlands for food in terms of this NRAS. So this was from my study in my thesis, and I've also got chance to be part of other different projects related to orbitofauna in western part of country, like up to Apinampa Conservation Area, which is the far western part of our country, and likewise in Ramarosan Lake Complex, Zilmila Wetland area. So from other studies also I found quite interesting findings. Like this figure shows the amplexus between different species. Means it is quite common in frogs. They they attempt in different species in the monsoon season. And next figure to my, in the right, topmost right, is Nanorana minica. Means it is the one of the vulnerable species found in our country, and the record is quite rare. So we found it from Jajarkot and Apinampa Conservation Area, from 2 different localities, and somehow managed to click the picture of this for the record. And the lower right one figure is of Emolops, means it is the stream frogs. So this is Emolops species, and it is Marmoratus. And the interesting fact about this species is it has quite adhesive pad on their limbs, and they tend to attach themselves in fast flowing river, in the rock of fast flowing river. And so it is also a quite interesting species, and there are a lot of different morphometric differences in this species too. And other, while in my field I got the different aspect which might affect the unrun diversity or unrun conservation in our country. Like in this first topmost figure, you have seen the herd of cattle, which is which is the common practice in Himalayas of our country. So they rear a lot of cattle, means the herd might contains of around 500 to 600 up to thousands of cattle. So while they are moving in the stream or any other place, so they might affect the breeding sites of frogs. So it is not like I've seen some of the cases, but it is not proved. Like, but they might pose some threat, somewhat threat to the breeding or the tadpoles of the frog. The next figure at the top right, topmost right, is the stream, which is the one of the habitat of stream frogs. Like in such kind of fast flowing river, we can find the different kind of stream frogs like Nanorana species, Emolops species. So they prefer such kind of cold and fast flowing streams. And the bottom figure is of it is a lake which is about at the altitude of Opi base camp in Opinamba conservation area, about in 40 to 100-meter altitude. So we surveyed up to 40 to 100-meter elevation, and we found the frogs. So we tried to survey the frog on up to that high Himalayas. Yes, and the one area of focus should be like stream frogs. In our country, as I have already said, that the habitat of stream frogs means they prefer cold water and fast flowing rivers in Himalayas. So they are generally termed as stream frogs, and they are called as pa in our country. So they generally consist the group of Nanorana species and Emolops species and Megaphorus species, Ombrana species. So they collectively they all are called as the stream frogs, and they are at high risk. They are posing a high threat due to illegal and excessive hunting. So they are used as food in a lot of cultures, a lot of endemic groups in our country. They hunt it, some for the medicinal purpose, some for its taste, some thought it they have high protein value, and some generally for recreation purpose too. So they hunt these species, and they are at high risk. In my study at the Opinamba conservation area, I found that there is very high hunting of this species at the time of Yarsagumba collection. Yes, this Yarsagumba collection is common practice in our country in high Himalayas, and at that time, many people, thousands of people, they gather and they collect the medicinal plant Yarsagumba. At that time, the frog poses the high threat. A lot of people gather from all around the locality, and they hunt for the frogs in large quantity. So this my area of interest is on these stream frogs, how they are hunted and how much they are hunted, where they are traded. And let's talk about the threats. In this figure also you can see so uh, how they are hunted. Like these two are Nanorana species, Nanorana legvi, which is the common pie species found in our country, and they are quite larger size, so they are preferred by hunters. So threats are excessive hunting in different parts, different corners of our country, and habitat degradation, like different kind of constructional activities like road construction, hydropower, and a lot of activities might have degraded the habitat. So amphibians or frog, they are only found in they do not have a wide range of habitat type. Like so in particular type of habitat, they can survive in particular type of habitat type, and if that is degraded and they are at the risk. And moreover, they are dissected as a means of anatomical studies in many colleges and in many universities of our country. So this is also posing a threat to amphibians, like using of insecticide, pesticides in agriculture, water pollution, lack of awareness. People are not aware about the ecological importance of frogs. Like less attention, they are getting less attention in research and conservation. Is our country, they are not getting so much attention. So these also posing the threat to the survival and research and conservation of amphibians. Look, here I have kept some picture of habitat degradation due to the road construction and eutrophication in the lakes. And I also got, came up with some awareness approaches. Like most of the local laymen, they do not understand about the ecological role of frog. Like they know very well that we should conserve tigers, we should conserve rhino, but they do not know why we should conserve frog. So this dietary habit, it opens new dimension to make them aware. So in this poster, it is written that it is in Nepali, and it is written that frogs are friends of farmer. We should protect them. We should conserve them. So majority of Nepalese, they are involved in agriculture, and frogs, they feed upon the harmful crop pest. So we can come up with this approach. Like if we conserve frog, if we protect frog, then it directly helps in agriculture, which helps in good production. So frogs can give benefit without any investment. We should not invest for them. We just should to make the water clean. We just need to make the habitat clean. So in different parts of Western Nepal, we have done surveys and different kind of awareness approaches, like in different districts of Assam, Jajapur, Kanchanpur, Bardia, Kailali, Dhangadi, and in my hometown also in Palpa. And I've give different talk programs to undergraduate students of zoology about the importance of frog, ecological importance of frog, research gap, and what can be done to take part in the conservation, and poster presentation in different international and national conference. From there, I am trying to aware people, or I am trying to seek the attention towards the frog. Like we should conserve them, we should invest on them. So they are facing, we know that frog amphibian is such group which are uh, facing so much extinction due to climate change and small events like pollution. So they need immediate research and conservation in Nepal too. So these are some pictures from my conservation awareness campaigns. And finally, by observing these all situations, these are scenarios in Western Nepal, and by came up with different kind of literature, then I have some future plans, what we should do, or what can be done to protect the amphibians. Like ecological studies on frog should be done. We now also we are hardly trying to figure out the diversity of frog in different areas. Whatever the ecological role, if we know about the ecology of frog, then we can surely protect them. And bioacoustic monitoring, amphibians means they are perfect candidate for bioacoustic monitoring. From these also we can monitor the status of frog and hunting and trade of frog in different areas, and how can we conserve them. And it's hard to get funding. So the plan includes support and fund for regular research too. If we cannot do regular research, then we cannot know about the population trend, ecological microhabitat selection, and what is the fluctuation in frog population. So it is very hard to get fund for such amphibians. So another is breeding behavior of endemic frog. Means there are a lot of different type of breeding behavior in different group of frogs. So it might have a new behavior in the endemic frog which is found in our country. So I'm interested in this part too. And long-term monitoring to collect the fluctuation information about climate change, or other small fluctuations like habitat degradation and the fluctuation in rainfall pattern, precipitation. So these all might affect the frog. And So so these are my future plans to carry out the research activities in our country. So thank you for your attention. And this frog is six-line tree frog, Polypera tenuitis, very beautiful tree frog found in lowlands of our country. So let's come up together to conserve the frog. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suman. Thank you for the wonderful and really informative presentation. And like you said, yes, amphibians really do deserve a lot more attention from the researchers and conservationists. Now we are taking questions. If you have any questions, there already is one question. So if you have more questions to Suman, please feel free to raise your hand, or even better, if you can put your questions in the chat box and I'll direct them to our presenter. There's the first question. It is by, let me go there, Ramesh Rajbansi. So it is about the first slide that you presented, the red frog that you presented, if you remember. So the question is, what is the identification of the frog you showed at first? So the question is.
Red frog means, I guess, microhyla. So the identification features means we should take different factors, like we can measure the SPL, snout, vent length, and the presence of different kind of character, means smooth skin, or in their dorsal and lateral part, the length of their foot. So these things should take in consideration while identifying the frog. So we can do it morphometric, and we have a lot of different measurement, about 20 to 25 measurement in particular species. So we should take these things.
Okay, so there's another question from Deep Tikonder. Why do you think amphibians are so neglected?
In my view, I think people don't know about their importance in ecosystem. Like they are found everywhere. Like if we in monsoon or in rainy season, if we go out, then everywhere we can see frog, and I think they are termed as common species, and they do not know about their importance. Majority do not know their importance. Like they said, they are frogs. Why they are important? Why should we conserve? I think if we can make them aware about the importance of frogs in ecosystem, and if we can raise the attention of the different organization, big organization, towards the what types of threat the frog are facing and why we need to conserve frog, then I think we can conserve them.
All right, are there any other questions? Please write them down in the chat box. Otherwise, we wrap up the presentation for today. And there is a famous rewild question that we ask our presentators. If you can be frog or a human in your next life, what do you choose to be?
I think I choose to be human, like, so that I can conserve a lot of frog. I could know about different types of frog which are thriving in our locality. And if I become frog, then I don't want to hunted by some irresponsible human. So rather, I like to be a responsible human.
Thank you so much, Suman. It was really informative and really wonderful. So we would like to thank once again European Wilderness Society for the collaboration, and also to Friends of Nature and Suman for the wonderful presentation, all the presentations from Friends of Nature. And on behalf of Friends of Nature, we would also like to thank Wilderness Society and Rewild Institute for allowing us the platform to present. So we'd like to wrap up the presentation here. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you again in the next presentation series.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Rewild and European Wilderness Society, for providing this platform. Thank you.